Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Not in one, but I think more than one videos, but specifically 2 days ago, I made this claim, which I still stand behind it, which is why would the Ukrainian troops allow themselves to be trained, let's say, by the Latvian officers? Or let's say why Ukrainian troops would be, again, trained by the Canadian officers, or Germans, or countries that really do not have experience in war as the Ukrainians do. I made this claim, I think 2 days ago in a video, and I was a little bit angry about it. Why would these guys train the Ukrainians? They don't know anything about it. The war in Ukraine is nothing that anyone else fought before this one. Do you think that Ukrainians were not ready? They did not know how to fight? They didn't have their own warfare manuals that they were studying? And do you think that they were studying the Soviet ones from, 1951 with Stalin on the front page? I mean, come on. They always study how the enemy is preparing and so on. So the same thing is true for, let's say, the Canadians or the Brits or anybody else. Now remember, Latvian troops or Polish troops train the Ukrainian troops. You don't know shit about this. The Ukrainians should have accumulated in the past 2 years the biggest experience on this planet in the direct warfare. And the Russians. The other guys are all studying it, and looking, and even though the Americans are involved in planning and all that, but not the, let's say, Latvians or Lithuanians who are training the troops, the Ukrainian troops somehow in NATO warfare. Well, we got a little problem here. We got a guy that I personally, I don't know, I don't like the guy. I have to say, probably because he reminds me of a guy from the past that I didn't like, to a direct experience. Maybe that's one of the reasons. I listened to his statements many times. I haven't found him particularly smart. Yes, weasel and sneaky. I don't think he's an idiot. I think he's more inclined towards, sneakiness, but he's not an idiot. His name is Alexei Danilov, and he is an advisor or something like this, National Security Defense Advisor. So he's an important person. I will show you a picture. And what's going on here? He comes and says the same thing I say. He comes and says, you know what? NATO warfare manuals should be, tossed to the ground and put somewhere in the archives. Not good. Oy vey. So he criticizes the NATO warfare system, if you want to put it this way. So let me show you this article from Russia Today. He says it in an interview. It's not that Russia Today just dreamed of. No, interview. So let me start with this. So here we have Russia Today, December 13th, 2023. Ukrainian security chief blasts NATO. Winter cold is setting in on a front line, reeling after months-long failed counteroffensive. Alexei Danilov, or Alexei. So this is the guy. He's gonna sell you a car. An used one, or pre-owned. Right now we don't say used cars, say pre-owned, used. Okay, but anyway, this is the guy. I don't know, I had a school guy, colleague, that kind of reminds me, and as an adult I had not really, when you are, you can have preferences, that's true, but when you attack people just because you just want to attack someone personally without bringing arguments, what's the point of continuing not even friendship? But let's go back to the article and forget this guy right here, full of trust. And this is a nice one. He's got his hair washed, so he took a shower here. Anyway, it's just a personal thing. Let's move on. NATO's war textbooks should be shelved. Right here. As no modern training manual can prepare soldiers for the war in Ukraine, according to the Secretary of Kiev's National Security and Defense Council. Not many times we agreed upon things, but here I totally agree. I mean, it's logical, and he seems logical. Alexei Danilov told British state broadcaster, yeah, because the Brits are pointing out to Russia Today's others that, oh, they are state, but BBC gets some money from the, no, okay. Told BBC in an interview on Monday, but hey, we're good, therefore everything that's state-owned, state is good. Really? Okay. In an interview on Monday that Ukraine's vaunted counteroffensive had not lived up to expectations, adding that the situation on the front lines remained, and I'm quoting, very difficult. They say very difficult, or dynamic, or concerning when things are really, really, really bad. They give you some attempt to make it euphemistically sound better than it is actually. They're at the point, the allies, are at the point where they have a shit and they try to pass it around, the circle, who has the shit, who should be blamed for this, instead of saying, well, we are part of this defeat. But they're not going to say that, because that would show balls, and since you deal with democracy, in democracy, the weasels, the zombies will be awakened. We lost? Who that? You owe me something. Yeah, so they don't want to claim, oh, actually it was NATO. Oh, actually NATO is United States of America. Oh, actually we had our generals in charge here and they planned counteroffensive. No, actually it was Zaluzny, the general, the Ukrainian Zaluzny. Oh, they try now to something, the weather, I don't know, the wind speed, the time, something else was responsible for Russia not being defeated completely. Remember? So they didn't lose. Russia was defeated, but not completely. That's the narrative they're going to come up with. NATO, we in the West, will be fed this garbage. The first one, we won. Why we won? Because Russia did not conquer United States of America and the rest of the Europe. That's the victory. It was never the case. But nevertheless, they made it up. So that's the first one. The second one, we'll see, well, the Ukrainians did not really win, but neither the Russians. The Russians kind of lost because they didn't conquer, but we definitely won. Why? We won, but the Ukrainians did not listen to our suggestions in the counteroffensive. They already had a little scandal, argument between Zaluzny and Austin, when Austin said that actually these guys did not listen to our counteroffensive suggestions, planning suggestions. And they said after 48 hours, Zaluzny changed everything. So already the shit was passed on Zaluzny. And Zaluzny is like, wait a minute, you tell me what to do, so it's back on you. And the guys are like, no, it's not back on us. It's back on the Russians again. And the Russians, it's going to be on the Russians. Remember, these guys will not say they lost. They will say Russia lost because it didn't conquer Europe. Because Russia will achieve its goals that it set at the unprovoked attack, but somehow it has a long list of why they invaded unprovoked something. When you're unprovoked, that means nobody did something to you. Or you don't say, hey, I'm acting because you did this, you provoked me into. Russia has no reasons, even though it has a fucking long list of why they invaded. Us, these guys, they will not tell you anything. It's unprovoked. The same. So let's move on here. That's the garbage. So the West did not lose. The Russians will say the same story. We did not lose. We won. We lost. Like in the Second World War. We have so many independent winners. Soviet Union, we won the war. Why? Because we got to Berlin. The guys say, no. American says, no, we won the war. We got the landing in Normandy, the D-Day. Ooh. Okay, by the time these guys landed in Normandy, Soviet Union pushed the Germans out of their old territory. And they were marching towards Moscow, Berlin. But hey, that's a different story. You're not supposed to. 90% of the German army was on the east, 10% on the west. Anyway, not really. I'm just making that way. And then even the Canadians won the war. Do you know that? I found out that the Canadians, without them, the Second World War would have been lost. And I'm like, Okay, man, whatever, what the fuck, who cares? But my point is, they all think without them, the war would have been, lost. Well, I think without certain kind of groups and countries, the war would have been still won. I mean, Soviet Union without the American land lease would not have been able to do what it did. That's for sure. That's for sure. And with the attacks on Africa and Romanian oil field and all that, again destroying the Germans' capability to fight the war. Again, that was with bombardments, but who bombarded? Let's go back to this article here, because he's going to say certain things that I think it's right. They are right. The secretary of the country's war cabinet said the old, and I'm quoting, textbooks on war, including those used by NATO to train Kiev troops, should be sent back to archives. Right? They're claiming that there has been a war like that there hasn't been a war like the current one in the 20th or 21st centuries. That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said 2 days ago. This is a different kind of war that these guys are studying from outside. The Ukrainians are actually fighting it. Yeah, the Americans are involved and so on. So yeah, I have to give this guy that he said that. Probably he said that for a weasel reason, but we'll find out. He confirmed that the almost 6-month-long counteroffensive undertaken by the armed forces of Ukraine had not achieved its goals. There were hopes, and I'm quoting, but they didn't come true, end quote. He said we're going to win. Again, if you look back at his statements, he said, and I understand his position. He is on the other side of the war, so he has to say it. He said, we're not done. You're going to see. We're going to destroy them. All that was, but people like me said, nah, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And he claimed, yes, we haven't, you haven't seen nothing yet. Okay, thank you. And I'm quoting here, the AFU has lost more than 125,000 troops and 16,000 pieces of heavy equipment in the unsuccessful attempts to retake territory in the past 6 months, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Now, obviously, this comes from them. I don't know if that's true. So my point is, as he said, those NATO textbooks should be sent back to archives. Not really. You study them because you never know if you're going to find some fifth world country on this planet with a coalition of Western might, and then you probably need those because you're not going to fight a 21st century modern strong army like Russia, for instance. You're not going to dare to touch that. So you're probably going to fight, I don't know, some blah, blah, blah country that you're going to destroy, and then you're going to say you have all these generals here like Schwarzkopf and others, the hero from Iraq. Iraq had, 20 million people population with a rusty war machine, Saddam's war machine. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, war machine. Yeah, rusty, old tanks and old MiGs and whatever they had over there. Really? My friends, this garbage, and they're all heroes. How many countries in the coalition of the good attacked that lone country? How many were over there? Like right now, Russia is attacked not by Ukraine, not attacked, fights Ukraine. Fights about 30 countries, a coalition of 30 countries. Political aid, military aid, financial aid, political, however you want to call it, is 40 countries, between 30 and 40, give and take. The same vassal states of Al Capone. That's what they are. So when I hear these guys, wow, the Desert Storm. I did not expect Saddam, and I was young then, much younger and less informed. I did not expect Saddam Hussein to win that at all. Zero. What are you talking about? It was like Mike Tyson, the former boxing world champion, heavyweight champion, right? Fighting a toddler. And after he beats the toddler, he puts medals of honor, Purple Hearts, and yeah, there were some actually, right, people endangered their lives and so on. For what? I know. Anyway, so again, here it's true. back to archives. You're gonna use them when you fight some war in Africa somewhere, or in South America maybe, or something that you looked very down on, like, we're gonna go over there. Like, remember, they got it tangled with countries that could not strike back, with Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. These are the countries, and former Yugoslavia, which was Serbia plus Montenegro. These are the countries that big champions, big heavyweights, together coalition, they tested their weapons and they fed their military-industrial complex in each country with their all arms manufacturing companies. This is what happened. And some people like Clinton, yes, we won, and the other guy, Bush, we won, mission accomplished. What? Those were war crimes. They were war crimes. And we point the fingers at others, bring a big fucking mirror, and, thank you very much for being with me again today. So, Alexei Danilov, good job. Good job on this one. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. I just think that he's trying to pass the shit. That's, I think, what I think he's trying to do.